The historically cooperative relationship between the United States and Canada has long been a model of international partnership. For decades, the two countries have shared not only the world's longest undefended border, but also deep economic, cultural, and security ties. From joint military operations to cross-border trade agreements, the US and Canada have often acted as close allies, working together to address global challenges and regional concerns. But today, that relationship is under significant strain, as new challenges and old grievances resurface, threatening the stability that both nations have come to rely on. Years of mounting political and economic disagreements have brought tensions to a head. Trade disputes over tariffs on steel, aluminum, and agricultural products have sparked heated debates, while diverging national priorities, ranging from climate policy to immigration, have further complicated negotiations. These issues have not only affected government officials, but have also trickled down to impact businesses, workers, and everyday citizens on both sides of the border. The friction is now evident in diplomatic exchanges, economic transactions, and even in the way ordinary people perceive their neighbors. Once routine cross-border travel has become more complicated, and the sense of mutual trust that defined the relationship is being tested. Recent developments such as the imposition of new tariffs and stricter border controls have only intensified these issues. The seamless integration of policies and economies that once characterized the US-Canada partnership is now being challenged at every turn, raising concerns about the future of North America's most important bilateral relationship. Trade practices and tariffs have become major points of contention, prompting both countries to re-evaluate long-standing agreements like NAFTA and its successor, the USMCA. Negotiations have grown more complex, with each side seeking to protect its own industries and workers, sometimes at the expense of cross-border cooperation. Former President Donald Trump's aggressive trade policies and nationalistic rhetoric have left a lasting mark on the U.S. approach to its northern neighbor. His administration's focus on America first led to a series of confrontations over trade, border security, and international agreements, setting a new, more adversarial tone in US-Canada relations. In contrast, Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney, elected on a platform of progressive change, has sought to chart a new course for Canada. Carney's public clashes with Trump over trade, climate action, and global cooperation have highlighted the growing divide between the two countries' leadership styles and policy priorities. The economic, social, and political ties that have long bound the US and Canada together are now being tested as never before. Industries that depend on cross-border supply chains face uncertainty, while families and communities with connections on both sides of the border worry about what the future holds. As both nations navigate this period of tension and transformation, the outcome will have profound implications, not just for Americans and Canadians, but for the broader global economy and the international order that has depended on their cooperation for generations. The United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement, or USMCA, replaced the long-standing North American Free Trade Agreement, known as NAFTA, in 2020. This landmark deal was designed to update and modernize the rules of trade between the United States, Canada, and Mexico, reflecting the realities of today's global economy. The USMCA introduced new provisions on digital trade, labor rights, and environmental standards, aiming to create a more balanced and equitable trading environment for all three nations. By streamlining customs procedures and encouraging cross-border investment, the agreement has played a crucial role in supporting millions of jobs and facilitating the flow of goods and services across North America. However, as the first major review of the USMCA approaches in 2026, questions are emerging about its future. As the 2026 review approaches, uncertainty looms, with both the US and Canada bracing for possible renegotiations. The review clause, built into the agreement, was intended to ensure the deal remains relevant and effective, but it also opens the door to potential disputes and demands for change. The review is a critical moment, especially amid current tensions, offering a chance to address grievances and reshape trade terms. Issues such as tariffs, market access, and regulatory standards are likely to be at the forefront of discussions, as each country seeks to protect its own economic interests. Former President Donald Trump, who was instrumental in the USMCA's creation, has voiced dissatisfaction with certain aspects of the agreement and has even threatened to withdraw the United States if his concerns are not addressed. This rhetoric has added to the sense of unpredictability surrounding the upcoming review, raising concerns among businesses and policymakers alike. On the Canadian side, Prime Minister Mark Carney has emphasized the importance of maintaining a fair and balanced relationship with the United States, while also advocating for greater Canadian economic independence. He has called for a review process that strengthens Canada's position in North American trade and ensures that Canadian industries are not left behind. As the review draws nearer, intense negotiations are expected, with both countries preparing to defend their interests and secure favorable terms. The outcome of these talks will have significant implications for the future of North American trade, economic stability, and the livelihoods of millions of people across the continent. The perspectives of key leaders are at the heart of the evolving relationship between the United States and Canada. Their decisions, words, and actions ripple across borders, influencing not just policy, but also public sentiment and economic realities on both sides. The dynamic between these two nations is being shaped by a complex interplay of personalities and priorities, with each leader bringing their own vision to the table. Former President Donald Trump's America First approach, marked by bold statements and controversial rhetoric, such as referring to Canada as America's 51st state, has not only strained diplomatic relations, but also sparked widespread debate and discontent among Canadians. His style has often been confrontational, leading to protests and heated discussions in both countries. Trump's negotiating tactics, often described as aggressive and uncompromising, are seen by his supporters as a means to secure more favorable terms for the United States in trade and international agreements. Critics, however, argue that this approach risks alienating key allies and undermining long-standing partnerships. In stark contrast, Prime Minister Mark Carney has positioned himself as a champion of Canadian sovereignty and economic diversification. He advocates for a balanced, respectful relationship with the U.S., emphasizing the importance of protecting Canadian interests while remaining open to collaboration and innovation. Meanwhile, Goldie Hyder, the influential head of the Business Council of Canada, urges leaders to move beyond heated rhetoric and focus on pragmatic, process-driven solutions. Hyder believes that constructive dialogue and careful planning are essential for navigating the complexities of cross-border trade and investment. As the critical review of the USMCA agreement approaches, Hyder calls for calm, strategic engagement from all parties. He stresses the need for thoughtful negotiation and mutual respect to resolve differences and ensure a prosperous future for both nations. Trade disputes, especially tariffs, are a major source of US-Canada tension. U.S. tariffs on Canadian steel and lumber have triggered Canadian countermeasures, disrupting supply chains and impacting jobs. These actions have had significant economic consequences, particularly for Canada's key industries. Canada has since reduced some counter-tariffs, shifting toward negotiation over confrontation. The disputes have shaped public opinion and will be central in the upcoming USMCA talks. Resolving these issues is crucial for the future stability of North American trade. Despite tensions, the US-Canada economic relationship remains one of the world's most significant. Trade and investment flows support millions of jobs and drive growth on both sides of the border. Canada is the US's largest trading partner, with deep ties in agriculture, energy, and manufacturing. Canadian and American businesses are mutually invested, fueling innovation and infrastructure. As the USMCA review nears, both nations recognize the risks of disrupting this vital partnership. Maintaining stability is essential for the prosperity of millions. In response to U.S. tensions, Canada is actively diversifying its trade partnerships. With 75% of exports going to the U.S., Canada seeks new markets to reduce vulnerability. Prime Minister Carney leads efforts to expand ties in Asia and other regions, aiming for economic resilience. Diversification is challenging but offers leverage and stability in global negotiations. A more independent Canada could mean increased competition and shifting dynamics for U.S. businesses. Diversification is now central to Canada's long-term economic strategy. Tensions have hit travel and tourism, once a major economic driver for both countries. Canadian tourism to the U.S. has sharply declined, driven by political friction and stricter travel policies. New U.S. requirements, seen as intrusive, have deterred visitors and hurt the U.S. economy. Business travel and cross-border cooperation have also suffered, disrupting industries reliant on easy movement. Restoring travel and tourism is key to rebuilding trust and economic ties. Easing restrictions and promoting exchanges will be vital for renewed cooperation. The US-Canada tensions have sparked strong emotions among Canadians who feel their partnership is being undermined. Trump's rhetoric has fueled frustration and a sense of betrayal, influencing public opinion and consumer behavior. Goldie Hader urges Canadians to avoid emotional reactions and focus on strategic, long-term goals. Many Canadians now support domestic businesses as a show of independence. This shift reflects a desire to assert Canadian identity amid external pressures. Channeling these emotions constructively will shape Canada's approach to future negotiations and its relationship with the US.